Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in this week. My name is Riley. You're watching Riley's Reptiles. And today I'm going to show you a little bit of the different techniques I use to keep and house baby Brazilian Rainbow Boas and go over my sexing techniques for babies. And we're going to talk about popping as well as the palpation method that works well in boas. So today I've got two of my holdbacks here from this season's litter, and I brought both of them out to demonstrate today just how easy it is to care for these guys at a young age. When they're younger, they're a little bit more fragile and delicate as far as humidity and heat goes. You don't want Brazilian Rainbow Boas access to a hot spot over 85. Anything in the low 80s is perfect for them. It can get down cooler than that as far as ambient goes and the cool end, but it's very easy to overheat these guys. And as babies, they're very susceptible to dehydration as well. So keeping some sort of damp substrate or minimal ventilation or a large water dish are going to be your best friend as far as managing that humidity in their enclosure. For babies, I like to house them in 6-quart tubs, and there's a couple really simple techniques. A really basic setup is something like this with just paper towel, a water dish, and keeping it humid. You can see moisture on the side from wetting the paper down, and a little bit of condensation will build up. Being in a rack system with that covered top, just minimal ventilation with the holes soldered in here, and humidity is very easily achieved in this environment. This year I've also been tinkering with a little bit of particulate bedding, and this is just your average coconut husk core hydrated out from a brick. It's a Zoomed product, and it's really great for maintaining humidity and making my life a lot easier. Most people get concerned about babies ingesting particulate bedding. These guys do really well with this stuff. They're fantastic eaters. This particle size is very, very small, so if some is accidentally ingested, they pass it just fine. And let's be real, they're not living on tile or paper in the wild, so they do just fine. Now, enough of the husbandry and how I keep these little guys, and why don't we talk a little bit about sexing babies and how easy it is, really, for boas. Alright, so this here is a Brazilian Rainbow Boa baby that was just born a couple weeks ago. And this animal, I already know is a male, but I figured because they're so amenable, I would show you just how easy it is to sex these guys. Now, it's always been understood that the most accurate way to do that with the most level of certainty would be through the probing method. But a lot of people are uncomfortable probing babies at this size. Well, fortunately with boas, you don't have to get very invasive. Now, it does take some practice, but it is much easier to learn, and it is nowhere near as invasive or traumatic on the babies. And it's as simple as taking this finger for the bottom, this finger for the top, and gently gliding my fingers down the tail, starting towards the head and moving towards the tip of the tail, and applying a little bit of pressure. So if there are hemipenes in there, I will feel them release back into position as I'm sort of feeling for them. So obviously they're going to move around a little bit, get them lined up. So there's our vent, and I'm just going to gently, 1, 2, and there's the pop. Right about there, right at that point, I feel some tissue spring back into place, as if as I'm pulling it this way, it's stretching and pulls back that way. So you can feel that. And if you're not sure, you can always confirm. That's a little boy. Those two those two red lines in there are hemipene blood veins. But what if you've pulled out a female and you haven't confirmed her as a female yet and you're not sure? Well, that's always the trick. The best way to tell is to do it enough times so you know what a male is like. But obviously that's not going to help you. So if you're doing some sexing of baby boas and you have yourself a little female, and you've got your palpating technique down, you shouldn't feel anything. Right about there is where I'd expect to feel hemipenes position themselves back into place. But instead, I'm not feeling any tissue moving or shifting down in the base of the tail. So what I want to do at this point, if I'm unsure, is double check. And with females, you won't get those little red lines emanating from the center of the cloaca out towards the edges of the little mounds of scent glands that are popping out there. But in this female, you see very distinct triangular white scent glands. And that's how you know you have a female. Now, obviously, this is going to take some practice. But that's how it's done. Alright, guys. Well, since I've shown you the babies, I would be remiss if I didn't show you the wonderful parents who created such amazing animals. And we'll start off with the sire, the dad. Dads always get the shaft when it comes to getting credit, don't they? Well, this dude has done some incredible work for me. This is his second litter that he has sired in 3 years. And he is a 2012 animal from Dave Collings' Picasso line Rainbows, specifically from his Ozzie and Henrietta pairing that year. And this animal is what I would consider a blood orange color tone with nice orange crescents, and he white walls quite nicely at night, as rainbows are known to do. And he's the reason why the litter of rainbows this year had anything other than orange in it, because as you will see soon, Mom contributes a lot of orange. So for those of you out there getting rainbows from me, if you've got something red, or at least slightly red, it's been brought in by this guy. And these are wonderful snakes. They're pretty nocturnal, but once you get them out, as you can see, they don't stop moving. So for anybody considering getting into boas, and you've heard all the concerns about high humidity and delicate animals and nippy babies, well, trust me, they're worth it. They're not what everybody's told you they are. They're amazing snakes. And you're going to start seeing a lot more of them from me as years go on. That is for sure. All right. This big one is obviously the dam to my rainbows this year and in 2016. And this beautiful girl is Nectar, because she is so orange. Just reminds me of like sweet, delicious nectar. And there are some amazing orange babies this year that I anticipate will look a lot like her. Now this girl I don't handle too often, but as you can see, as long as I'm, respectful with her, she's good. I don't just reach in and grab her, but I could. But I always just make sure she's, aware of me, because the consequences of a bite from an animal this size are not fun. But anyway, I don't know if I've ever been tagged by her. But this girl, when I got her, she was one of those wonderful Craigslist finds that works out in the best way possible. She was produced by a breeder down in Southern California, acquired by an individual as a juvenile, passed on to his friend, and over those years these individuals fed her massive meals, as in live jumbo rats, once a month. Obviously she handled them, but after a big litter, she's still larger than most rainbow boas ever attain in size. So she's a big girl. Shortly after I picked her up, she clocked in around 6'11" and just shy of 12 pounds. So she's a beast. Needless to say, she's slimmed down a little bit with me, but she's already at that size, so starving her isn't going to help her. So she's as big as she is, and we're rolling with it. And she gives me beautiful, big, healthy babies. And all of the babies that I've had from her, They start feeding within 2 days. Every litter has had frozen thawed food in the first day, 2, or even 3 days. So not only are the babies really great getting started, but they're fantastic as adults. And she just shed. She just had a nice shed the other day. We're getting some weight back on her after her litter this year. But I thought I would show you my big, beautiful girl here. And I will be keeping back some very intense oranges this year. I've kept some red tones in the past. So I think she's going to really pay dividends in those orange babies. But anyway, I will have some of those babies this weekend at the San Jose Reptile Show. I'm going to post this, if you guys are watching this today, it is Friday. I'm going to post this before the show. So if you guys are planning on coming to the show, see you there. I'm only bringing a few because, quite frankly, the rest are sold. So if you want some, I should have a couple pairs on the table there. But anyway, come out to the San Jose Reptile Show this weekend, and I'll be at my friend Travis Johnson's booth at Living Legless Reptiles. We'll have some carpets and some rainbows and some cool stuff. But anyway, these, you guys need some of these. These are a very underrated species. I hate to say it, there are a lot of morphs in these guys that most people don't know about. But their natural beauty is what stands them apart from every other snake. And people enjoy that regardless of morph, and I do too. So I don't have enough that I can say about these snakes. They're wonderful. I'm getting more of them. I'm breeding more of them. I need more of them. And if any of you out there are curious and want to know more about their care, if it's the right snake for you, let me know. I'm happy to chat boas. Rainbow boas, that is. Anyway, until next week, thanks for tuning in, guys.